Okay, so I am currently reading The Great Witch. I forgot who it's by Chrissy Phillips. I have a very bad habit of not reading the descriptions for books. I think reading the description takes away from the mystery of what the story is about. So far, I'm about 28% in on my Kindle. I am assuming that this is a paranormal erotica from what I've read in the 28%. Couple things that are standing out to me. This book needed to be edited. I can understand maybe not getting editing done very well with the first book. I kind of had that same problem with my first book. So I can tell that this book did need to be edited. It also is just kind of all over the place, and it's a little confusing to me that people are figuring things out kind of quickly, and there's a lot of the characters seem to act the same. There's no definitive difference between their personalities. They all pretty much seem like one person. Yeah, so I'm about 28% through. I've got some other stuff I gotta do, so I'm probably gonna stop reading for right now. But I'm definitely going to come back to this because I'm so curious as to what is going on with this book. All right, so I just finished The Great Witch. It's a 2-star read for me. There was just a lot of issues with reading it. The story was very promising. I'm not very big on paranormal eroticas. But, I gave it a try. It had a very, very promising storyline. Just wasn't executed to the best of its ability. There was also, it was a great witch who had 5 shifter mates, 4 males, 1 female. And there were times that when they were speaking, there were no dialogue tags, so you had no idea who was talking. And I kind of had to pretty much guess on who was speaking. And the characters are so similar that no dialogue tags, it could have been anybody speaking. Like, you really just didn't even know. There were so many errors within the book, so it kind of pulled me out because I was like editing as I was reading. But that's 3 books down. 3 books down. I'm making my way through. I still have a good 20 books before I'm even close to making this go. 3 books down in Indie-Cember. Hey guys, so I am currently sitting in my car. I just brought my mom to the store. I hate shopping, so when I bring her to the store, I drop her off at the door. I find a spot to park, and I sit in my car and I wait until I get a text message from her saying I'm done, and then I pull to the door. I absolutely hate shopping. But I did not do an update this week after I finished reading my books. So, because I was just very tired when I finished them. So I was like, while I'm sitting out here, I'll give you guys an update and I'll probably start reading some more. I got through 2 more books this week. I finished, I have my Kindle right here, or my iPad with my Kindle app open on it. I finished Kingdom Fairy Tales. I don't know why it doesn't have the author's name on it. Let me open the book and see. So this looks like it was written by several authors. Title page, maybe? Yes. So this was written by several authors. So I gave this book 3 stars. I like the promise of the story. It's fairy tales. So it basically is, what it says is after the happily ever after. The reason it didn't get higher stars for me is because I'm expecting after be happily ever after. So basically, pretty much after what we know ends in fairy tales, this story kind of picks up that, but then it stops with, then there was a knock, and then it leaves with, if you want to read more, read this book. And each story is like that. They've got let me go through and break it down. They've got Sleeping Beauty, Little Mermaid, Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, Rumpelstiltskin, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, which I wasn't aware was an actual fairy tale, Wizard of Oz, which also threw me, Snow White, and Peter Pan. And you're supposed to, I guess, after you read those stories, because I guess they're just the prequels, then you're supposed to read I guess actual books after. So I don't know, it just kind of threw me because it says after the happily ever after, so I'm thinking we're getting full stories, and really we just got like maybe 2 chapters that pretty much gave us a brief synopsis of what happened after, like, what we know as the movie versions of these fairy tales ended. So 3 stars. It was very promising, and I think I might actually purchase the other books to read them, just to kind of see what the authors came up with for the happily ever after. And then the last book that I read this week was The Lost Phoenix. This is another book by Chrissy Phillips. This book, I gave The Great Witch by Chrissy Phillips 2 stars. I don't think I pretty much broke that one down a lot. There were 5 witches that combined into one, became The Great Witch. It was a paranormal erotica. It was very short. There was a lot of errors. I read The Lost Phoenix by Chrissy Phillips, and this one I actually gave 3 stars. This one was also kind of a paranormal erotica. It was also about shifters, which I'm not big on, but I actually kind of like the story better. This one was also short, so it was more of a, I guess, a novella as opposed to like a full book, which there's a lot more that this author could have did with this story, which is why I didn't give it higher. This could have been a full novel. Like this, it left me with so many questions, and I've already looked up to see if there's like a sequel to it, and I can't find a sequel. So I'm a little upset about that, because it left me with a cliffhanger, and I don't think that's fair to leave your readers with a cliffhanger and then not put out a second book to that story. So The Lost Phoenix was about a young man who, as a baby, was given to a foster family that knew that he was a shifter. They're a human family. They knew about shifters. He was given to them, and he was raised as a human until he became of age. And at this point, 4 shifter women were looking for their mate, and it turns out that he was actually all of their mates. So I guess it's a thing where a phoenix, because that's what he is a phoenix, actually has 4 mates. So his 4 mates were looking for him, and then there's a siren queen who is out to like get them. So it was actually very good. I'm very upset that it ended where it ended, and I'm also even more upset at the fact that there's not a second book, so that I can find out what happened. This book I actually wanted to reread, and this book, like The Great Witch, had a lot of errors, which I think this is the author that in the about the author it says that she it says that she's a proofreader. I'm gonna just double check. I think this is yes, it says that she proofreads in her spare time. Now, we all know it is not best for authors to edit their own work, because when we see our words, we see perfection pretty much. Like once we're done, once we've like really nailed down the story, when we see it, to us it just looks fine. So it's not good for our authors to proofread their own work. But with the amount of errors that is in this story, there's grammar, there's punctuation, there's spelling errors. Like, for example, the author would write there, meaning a group of people, but she would spell there, meaning a place. So it would, and the same thing with where. Instead of, like, she would be saying like we're, and it would say where, but like both ways. So it would say like, as opposed to like W-E-apostrophe-R-E, it would say W-E-R-E, or it would say W-H-E-R-E. So it's very disheartening knowing that this author is a proofreader, knowing that she's not saying like she's a full-fledged editor and stuff like that, but still, it just kind of, it bothered me because it was the same errors as The Great Witch, which kind of is a little disheartening that there was no growth, but this story was better than The Great Witch. But that's all I have. I did purchase another book from an indie author. And this one is by Nicole McKin. I don't want to mispronounce her name. I will put up the image though, because I don't want to mispronounce her name. And it's The Laws of Founding. This one says that it is a 7-hour read. The last couple of books were like a couple hours, so I was able to get through them pretty fast. And I'm the type where I don't like to read multiple books at once, but I think I'm probably going to attempt reading multiple books at once until the end of December, because I still have a lot of books to catch up on my reading list, so on my reading goal. Because every time I don't make my reading goal, I make it the same goal as the following year. I can't even speak, you guys, and I'm not going to edit this part out. This is just like raw and real. But every time I don't make my goal, the next year when I make my goal, I make it the same as the previous year. So last year's goal was 48 books and I read 25. This year I did 48 books and I'm about 28 books through. So if I don't make it my 48, if I don't get the extra 20, next year it'll be 48 as well, which is just so weird, because the first few years back I made it 24 books and I read about 50 books, so it's like, yeah, I can make it 48. And then this year and last year I didn't make my goal. I don't know what that is. I don't understand, but yeah, so I'm gonna probably start reading this book while I'm sitting out in the car waiting. I've got some time, and that's all she wrote, folks. I will come back to you later.